Hello and welcome back to the lecture on switch statement and switch expressions. So in this lecture we will discuss about the switch. Switch is a keyword in which we will pass a particular variable, and that variable, for each state of the variable we want to execute a specific condition. So for that purpose we will use the switches. So the switch, we will start with switch statement. So the switch statement is were used in old versions of Java also, and it was available in old versions, and it consists of mainly three concepts. The first one is the switch keyword. Following the switch of the variable name, you have to pass into the switch keyword. And next one is the case. Case will be the particular case which we want to write. For each state we will write one cases. And next thing is the default. Default means if you want to execute all the cases fails, then you want to execute a particular statement, then we can write that statement in the default part. Now let us see the syntax for the switch statement. So here you can see the syntax, default syntax for switch statement. Here you can see switch of variable, and the particular cases we can pass integers and floats or enums, everything we can pass. We will discuss about enums when we come to the enum class. For now it is consider it as a state, it's a variable. And now let us discuss about other things. We can use the break statement to break out of the each cases. If you don't use the break statement, what will happen is control flow will go to the other switches, other cases, sorry, and it will cause the other cases to execute. So we don't want that, so we can use the break statement. Now let us discuss about the switch expressions. The switch expressions are very new feature in Java, which allows to have an arrow notation in the switch, and it can return you a value. So we can use a variable to store the value from the switch. And there is a new keyword which is called as yield keyword, which is introduced during the switch expressions. So we can use the switch yield keyword to return you a particular value or yield a particular value, and that value will be stored back to the variable which is holding that switch. So let us see the syntax for switch statement, sorry, switch expression. So the switch expression syntax is like this. We can declare a variable to hold the switch value. Once it yields any value, it will return you a particular value. That value will be stored back to that variable. And you can see that we can have multiple case labels, which was not possible in switch statement. So in switch expressions we can have multiple case labels by separated by comma. And finally, there is a yield keyword, you can see, and the yield keyword will have a particular property, like it will return you a particular number. If you want to return a number or put specific value for a particular case, then we can use the yield keyword. So this is it for the theoretical aspects of the switch and switch expressions. There is a new enhancement in JDK 17 which is called as pattern matching for switch expressions, and in this feature allows us to have pattern matching feature for switches, and both statement and expression can have pattern matching. We will discuss about then that when the practical of this video will come. Thank you for watching. Now let us see a program based on switch statement in Java. So here you can see I have created a switch statement. Here I am switching over a string, which value is, if the value is apple, it will print apple. It is like that. I'm printing each for each case. I am putting a particular value, and as I am colon for the for following that I will put a colon and put the statement for that switch, and explain if default also I will provide. So this is how the basic syntax for switch statements. Now let us see the output for this. So here you can see apple is printed. So the value which I passed was the value apple. So the value is printed like that. That is the example for switch statement. Now let us see another example. Now let us see a program for switch expressions in Java. So switch expressions was introduced to later into Java. So it is a new feature, and switch expressions has a arrow notation feature which is added. So we can use arrow notation to have handle multiple cases, and we can have that condition. Now let us see the program for this. So here you can see the program. This program is to print the number of days in the particular month. This program's goal is like that. So we have to print a particular number of days in a particular month. So we are passing a particular year and month as a two variables, and using the switch expression to switch over the particular variable. And here we can see this logic. For other whichever months which having 30 days, I will returning a 30 value, and whichever months which having a 31 days, I'm returning 31 value days. And for the other case where when it is February, at that time I am calculating whether it is a leap year or not. If it is a leap year, I will return a particular 29. If it is a not a leap year, then I will return 28. So like that, that logic of the flow is like that. You can see the syntax for yield keyword also here. And if block is there, and if the if condition is satisfying, then I'm yielding a particular number which is 29. And if that condition is failing, and I'm returning another yield well. And default is necessary in the switch switch expression. So you need to have a default condition, and which will return a particular value. And we can see here I'm passing the particular 2 years and days, and the year and month. And let us see the output to see whether how many days are in this year and month. Here we can see the number of days is printed. So this is it for the program for switch expressions. Now we'll see another program. Now let us see a program on switch expressions, which is a simulation of a cricket over. So cricket is a game, you know. If you don't know about cricket, you search in Google to find out cricket, a game. And in this cricket, there is an over concept is there. So there will be six times a six balls will be there in an over. So in this program, we are trying to simulate an over in a cricket match. So here you can see in the I have declared a method in which it will take a parameter of a particular switch value, and I will switch the particular and returning I will return a switch value. And here you can see for a specific event I am printing a particular result. That result is called as number of runs scored. For if it is a wide or no ball, it is called as 1 runs. A further condition, if it is a 4, it is a 4 runs, and it's a 6, and it's a 6 runs. So like that I am giving the values. So this is how the switch can be used as a return statement also. That is how we are showing here. Now let us see the main method. In main method, I'm calling each runs per every ball and calculating the total runs in that over. So an over has six balls. So six times I will call the function and calculate the particular number of runs scored in that over. So this is how. Now let us see the output. How much runs I scored in that 1 hour. Here you can see 16. So that is it for this switch expression. Now let us see another program on pattern matching for switch expressions. Now let us see a program for pattern matching in switch expressions. So is it statement or expression? Both will support pattern matching feature. So pattern matching is a newly introduced in Java 17. It's a preview feature. So you have to enable the preview option in your project to view this use this particular feature. So if it is not enabled, go to the compiler of your right click and go to the compiler of a project settings, and in the project settings you can give the you can check the checkbox to enable the preview features. So now let us go back to the program. So here we can see this is a simple program to print a double value from a particular. If it is a string or an integer or a double, whichever the type, it will return you a double value. So that is the goal of this this program. So now let us see the program logic. So here you can see I am having a switch. Here you can see the pattern matching for switch expression. It will take any type of patterns it can handle. You can see this code. Integer type it can hold a float, or it can hold a double. It can hold a string also. So in this case we are passing a generic object like object Object class is called as a class which is a super class of all the classes. So if you are not having to sure about any type of a particular object, you can pass the object method, object class as a parameter, so that it will handle the for all the types. Now let us see how this program is getting invoked. So here you can see in the main method I am calling the particular uh, method to print the double value by one. I'm passing the first an integer, then I'm passing a float value, and then I'm passing a string value, so it will print. Here you can see the methods. These methods you will learn about wrapper classes once you learn that lesson. In that lesson we will cover about all these methods which are related to the wrappers. For now let us think like a double is like a class which will wrap around the double primitive data type, and it will provides us with additional functionalities, functions and everything. Now let us this program, let us see the output for this program to see whether how the double values are returning or not. So here you can see the double value for each different types, integer and the float and string has been returning. So this kind of program logic can be written using a pattern matching for switch expression feature. This is a lot of things has been newly introduced in Java 17. This is one of the new feature, and this feature is very has many more other features which we will not discuss in this lecture. You can Google it and find out what are the different other ways of doing the pattern matching in switch, and we can understand about more about the switch expression. So in this lecture we are seeing about the switch expressions and switch statements, and seen some programs related to the switch expressions and switch statements, and we have learned about them. So please continue watching the series. Thank you for watching.